dear Montessori colleagues and friends all over the world, hello and welcome. This is Montessori Institute Prague podcast, Montessori love stories that need to be told. My name is Mirka. I'm the host of this podcast, and I'm really excited that you're listening to us right now, and I really hope you're going to enjoy this. Okay, everybody, welcome to today's episode of my podcast. It's a podcast broadcasted from Montessori Institute Prague. It's called Montessori Love Stories That Need to Be Told. And I have two wonderful guests today. It's the first time for me to have two guests, and we're already having a lot of fun before this recording. And my guest is Nina Rotello from Montessori Origins. She's in the United States. And then I have a very special friend and colleague here, guest, Emina Šakovic. And Emina, would you like to share where you are from?
I'm from Bosnia and Herzegovina, from Sarajevo.
Thank you. And Emina is a representative of Montessori Education Center, Jedinstvena Generacija, which in English is Unique Generation. Welcome, ladies, both. To my podcast. I'm so excited. And this was a little bit of a spur of a moment decision. Nina and her husband, Adam, and I had a call last week, and we talked about their amazing work they're doing around the globe. And they told me a lot about Emina, and we agreed maybe we just need to talk to each other and listen to each other's stories and tell each other about our project. So hence I invited these two ladies, and we're doing this even though it's late at night and we should be home with our families. So I'm going to, I always ask my guests a very tough question. Some people are rather taken aback when I ask this. So I would like for you to tell me, who are you, ladies? And please use this as a way of introducing yourself. Nina, would you like to start?
Sure, that is a very good existential question. Who am I? I'm a mom of 3 children. I also am connected to Bosnia because I am a refugee of war that immigrated to the United States when I was very young, 8 or 9 years old. I can't remember anymore. Everything's a blur. But and I am somebody that fell in love with Montessori, seeing what it did for my family. And I am also the co-founder of Montessori Origins with my husband, along with some lovely, lovely other Montessori parents who decided to help us create this organization with the goal of offering early childhood education throughout the globe. We're starting in Bosnia with our pilot program, working with Jedinstvena Generacija. We would love to see what our children have be accessible to as many children as possible. So that is who I am in a nutshell.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, and now please, Emina, would you say, who are you?
A very hard question. Like, it's always hard to talk about yourself. It's easier when somebody introduces you. It would be easier for me, but okay. I'm always gonna start with that, and I'm very proud mother of 4 children. And I'm a child of my parents. I always used to say that, and a wife of my very supporting husband. So that's the most important part in my life, because they are support in everything what I'm doing. And I'm a psychologist, and I'm passionate about life, especially about Montessori philosophy and method, what is really like becomes my life. It's not just a way of education, of educating children. It's just something that I live from the moment I realized like what is that, and I was in contact with the Montessori environment. But first of all, I would like to say that I'm very honored to have a chance to be with you tonight, to share my experience, my story about everything, what I'm doing and who I am. And I hope this is gonna inspire and motivate all the other people who are listening. So I'm sending a big hug to everybody who is listening. It's just very, very special moment for me to have this opportunity to meet you, Mirka, finally, and to be together with you, to have this opportunity. And I consider myself as a dreamer. As a child, I always had a dream about something, and I always played. It was my role was always like, okay, I'm gonna be a teacher. It was like a silly thing, but I was always like teaching younger in my neighbors. Like I was always pretending that I can share something and I can change something. And yeah, it's always it was like a silly thing, but everybody thought, I'm gonna be a doctor. You're gonna be a doctor. No, 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 I'm gonna be a teacher. It was. And then I always wanted to help children by using education. And then while I was growing, it was like, okay, how can I help children by using education in my country? And if it's possible to spread that knowledge. And when I was a child, Nina mentioned something like she was a refugee, and when I'm thinking about my childhood, I need to say that I'm also a child from the war. I was around 8 when the war started, and in this period of what is going on globally on our planet Earth, I feel a great empathy about people who are now in Ukraine and everywhere all around the globe, because it's something that I can't talk about anything in my life if I'm not thinking about people who are suffering, because I go through all of that. And I can remember my childhood. I spent my childhood, the majority of my childhood, in the basement. And I remember, so I'm just relating that with the project that I'm working on now. I was always sensitive about it, but now it's very, very emotional to think about disadvantaged children or children who are homeless or anything. I can remember, but I'm not gonna talk about war now. And about, no, I'm not. But I did just something like, because it was a period of my childhood, I didn't have a chance to go to school.
It's who you are.
Yes. And then I would like to do something like, okay, I just want to do something with children to give them the best way of educating. It was actually when 2008, when I became a mother and I gave a birth to my child. It's like 14 years ago. I wanted to give him a special education. It was my dream. Okay, I need something. And that was something what probably lead me today to this moment, because I was, as a psychologist, like I was always studying children's development, child development. So probably that's the way how I touch that.
So you are also a psychologist, Emina, is that right?
Yes, okay. Yes. Okay. And I was working as a volunteer in non-government before
Okay, don't tell the story just yet. I will. This is about this podcast is about love stories, okay? And usually when you're talking about your love, I'm thinking about my husband. Sometimes people would say, and what did you do before you met your husband? So before you fell in love with him. So I'm going to ask you about that. But first, before I do it, because we have very sensitive microphones, when you ladies shuffle things on your desk, it interferes. So just try not to shuffle your papers, okay? Because we have, and it's okay. We can, people understand. It's live, so that's not a problem. But let's dive. And I do, I think it's important that before we start talking about Montessori and what you're doing, what are your projects and how you're helping the world, I think my question is, what was your life like before Montessori? And I would, if you feel that you'd like to share about your life as a, Nina, you said you you have a refugee experience yourself, and Emina, you say that war has always been part of your life. I think those are defining moments of your project. And if you feel like you'd like to share, please share just a little bit. If you feel like you don't want to share, please say, I'll pass, and we will continue with the conversation, okay? So maybe Nina, would you?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. A lot of the time when I speak with Emina, or even I attended an ESF talk a Saturday, and we had small breakout groups. And every time I talk to Montessorians in particular, I have these aha moments about myself, like these discovery moments, and just writing about being robbed of a childhood in a sense during the war. And I didn't spend an enormous amount of time in the war. I was in the war for 6 months or so, but I just had this aha moment because I've always been focusing my attention when it comes to charitable efforts or like me helping the world or what I can do outside of myself and my family and to be like a global citizen. And it's always been focused on children. And I always just was like, I didn't think too much into it. I'm like, oh, well, it makes sense, children. But now Emina had me have an aha moment where I was like, maybe it's because my inner child, was robbed. I mean, I think I skipped a year of school because I was in a basement as well. And then when I joined school, I missed. Anyway, I definitely now am having this weird moment of being like, wow, maybe that's why I am working on a project in the early education sphere and why I find Montessori so nurturing for myself.
Thank you.
So I just had that aha moment.
Well, that's interesting. And I will point you in the direction of the why discovery process. Okay, by probably know Simon Sinek, and he has this amazing, easy process of how to discover your why. And it's definitely there. It definitely stems from those are called defining moments of who you are. And usually they are the purpose of, they are our core. So okay, thank you, Nina, for sharing. And so would you like to, what was your life like before Montessori?
Oh, personally, I lived in England for 7 years with my husband, and I was sort of a supportive wife, which doesn't sound very glamorous or make me feel great, because when I was growing up, everybody was like, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. And then I was just a wife for a while. And then I became a mom to my children. And my life was just raising my kids with in an environment where my husband wasn't around very much. So a lot of it, he was working, being an amazing dad when he was home, but that time wasn't very long every day. I don't think sometimes the kids, because they were like, who's this guy? Because they wouldn't see him during the day, during the week. So I was a mom, and I think I probably spent a lot of time with 24/7 with my children. And maybe that also had a really great influence on when I did come across Montessori, how I was able to see all the tremendous benefits of it, because I was really like I was 100% a mom, like doing everything. So yeah, I guess it doesn't sound very glamorous. I wish I had something better to say about myself, but I don't think being a mom is not amazing. I think it's amazing, but that's who I was before Montessori, a wife and a mother. I'll stick with that.
Thank you for sharing. I was thinking, as you were saying, that you said you used the word just, and I was just thinking, just, I've never been a 100% mom myself, so I kind of envy you did that before you became not a 100% mom. So that's wonderful. Thank you. Okay, so Emina, what was your life like before Montessori? Tell us.
I don't know where to start from. I started from the early childhood, but I don't, like Nina, I don't know if I can say a lot about that period, because actually, okay, I became a mother of one child in that period of my life, and he was 18 months when I started, when I just entered to the world of Montessori, like education. But I volunteered as a psychologist in a non-government organization, and that was probably something that helped me to realize that I really want to work with children. But it was a different age group. They were school children, and we were working on different projects, different prevention of different behaviors. We were in contact with psychologists in different schools, with Ministry of Education, and I felt very proud. Look, okay, I'm just a student, and I already get opportunity. I have opportunity to learn a new skills, to be in contact with very, very special educators. And I collect a lot of knowledge and a lot of experience during that period. And I think it helped me really to become stronger in every field. And then I realized that I would like to do something about children with special needs, because I was wondering, okay, am I going to work with clinic or something to become a therapist, or I'm going into school like early childhood education? And definitely my son, the way I was following the way how he was growing, he helped me to realize that I really wanted to be like a mother, because I spent a lot of period with him, and I'm really grateful for that. But then I was okay. I have to learn. I need to find my job. I need to start working. But what I'm going to do? And then I needed to do my final exam. It's my professional exam, and I decided that I would like to apply to different schools and to find an environment where I can do a case study. And probably that was like the moment when I enter inside. I even didn't know it wasn't registered school. It was just environment. It looks like a Montessori environment, and I got a chance in that period to enter in that world.
So this was your first experience. You went to do a case study in a Montessori school. Is that right?
Yes, with children with special need. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do a little exercise. Okay. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Close your eyes. And try to remember that first you walked into the classroom. Okay. You see yourself go into the memory of being in that classroom. And keep your eyes closed and tell me, what is it that you've experienced when you walked through the door?
I felt like a child. It reminds me on my kindergarten. And my teacher, her name was Maria. She teaches me just a couple of phrases in Italian, like "Buongiorno, Signora Maria," and so that was very amazing. Like, what is that about that name? Like, why it has a great influence on me. And a couple of children were sitting in actually hiding behind curtains. It's a kind of reading corner, but not the one it looks like now in the Montessori. It was like a toddler classroom, but they were hiding and reading. And then when I approached them, they started playing with my hair, but they were brushing my hair and like washing, but it was pretend play. And I just let them do that. And then the educator, she enters in the classroom and she let me just stay still. She told me just to give me some instructions, just stay still, because in that moment there was still a girl who was working with that child with special need, and I needed to take care of him because she was finishing with him. And then I took responsibility for him. So that was a moment like I was like, okay, I don't want to go from here. Like, what is this? This is so magical. Everybody was doing something, and without noticing, like, who is gonna say? I just could feel a freedom, like among those. They were so young, and this child, this boy that I was working with him, he couldn't even sit, he couldn't even walk, so he was very helpless. He needed my full attention. But I still could feel the vibration, the energy of the children, probably because I was a new one. And I just let them approach me, but I knew already some things because I was informed. I read about philosophy and like, okay, I'm not going to disturb them. Okay, I'm not going to talk with them. So many things were in my mind, like, okay, I have to, I'm not observer in this case, but yeah, my role was very difficult because I needed to put all my focus on that child, but I wanted to play with all the other children. And I was afraid to touch every material, like, okay, because it has a purpose. Okay, so that was the feeling. Like when I was back home, like I started thinking of my childhood. Oh, how lucky they are.
Yes.
And I would like to offer this kind of environment to my son because he was 18 months. Like, I would like just to bring him here. So I was so overwhelmed.
So it was love at first sight, really?
Love at first sight. Like, that's it. So I just like, that's it. And in that moment, I even thought, like, I would like to be, I remember because I told that to one lady, like, I'm dreaming to be a mother of 4 children. And she laughed at me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, a lot of girls say that, like, you're very young. Yeah. So I remember that. And one of my dreams is also coming true. Like, okay, I'm a mother of 4.
Yeah, I'm actually also a mother of 4. So now I know why she laughed. I wouldn't know a couple of years ago. Now you know. Now you know why she laughed as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's a lovely story, and The reason why I asked you and why I asked you to close your eyes and remember that experience is because I ask my guests about how did they first hear about Montessori, and many of my guests describe exactly the same experience of walking into a Montessori classroom, not necessarily knowing what it's like, and then the wow. And usually, and I have goosebumps when I'm telling you, and right after that, when they come home, the thinking of, I wish I had that kind of opportunity. And then the next thought is, I want this for my children. So this is a beautiful pattern. Thank you for sharing that. So now, Nina, same question to you. How did you first hear about Montessori and what was it like?
So I was very fortunate. We were moving back to the United States and came to look at some homes in California where we settled, and looked at some schools in the area by chance, absolutely by chance. And I met a lovely lady, Elena Heil, who runs the Montessori school here. And she gave us a tour of the school just to check it out. And I think I closed my eyes too when you were having Emina close your eyes. And I remember, I mean, it happens to be a beautiful school. We're very fortunate to have our children there. But I remember when I closed my eyes, I just saw light and this like sound. I don't know, I heard that sound in my ears. But it was just the tranquility. It was soothing. It was like a yoga retreat. It was just very zen. And now I'm going back to like the aha moment I had earlier, maybe because I had so much chaos in my life. Like I really was drawn to that peace and serenity. Perhaps I don't want to make this whole podcast about myself and my problems, but but I was like probably in love with it because it was so soothing. And of course you want the best for your children. And I wanted that for my children. So that was kind of how I came across Montessori. I was fortunate. It was a little bit of luck, but
well, so you probably know by now that it's, things don't happen out of luck, or like there are no coincidences.
That's true.
Yes. So
yeah. So we signed up for the school before we had a house. We signed up for the school, and the administration was like, well, you don't really live here yet. And I was like, oh, don't worry, we're gonna live here.
Oh, that sounds so amazing. And when you were describing your experience, I could see like a slow motion movie with the sun going through the room and a little bit of dust.
Yeah, just light, like, yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so now we know your first encounter with Montessori and how you fell in love. And it's back to you, Emina. What was after that? What happened?
Then I continued. That was just beginning of my journey. Then I continued studying because it was a bit challenging. Like, okay, actually, when I started with that case study, first I applied to be just a volunteer because it was my wish. Like that was the way how I entered to that school. Okay, I'm gonna do whatever it's necessary, a psychologist, the paperwork, whatever it's necessary. And then that educator approached me before I got this case study. She told me, okay, we need you. I know that you're a psychologist and I notice how you're talking with children. Like, can you just jump in to the classroom? Because one colleague, later we became colleagues, she had some personal, she was away of her school. She wasn't there about 15 days in the school.
There's never enough teachers. And when a head of school sees, when a head of school sees a good person who can, and they see right away, this lady could be a teacher, they will grab you.
Yes, she grabbed me and she told me, can you please just come in? And I'm starting like for 2 days, it's gonna start a new education for Montessori. And are you interested in, I know that your son is very young, he's just 18 months. It's going to be a very like intensive every night because she was from Argentina. She wasn't from here. And I'm here just 1 month, and you need to be available from 6 to 11 o'clock the afternoon. I know that you have to do paperwork here, and you will start working with that child for 4 hours. And the afternoon, you need to come to observe in 3 to 6 classroom, and then you have 2 hours, like it's a break. Go breastfeed your child because I was living very close, and we will figure out something. Maybe I can ask our director, you can bring him to the Montessori classroom, in transition classroom, because it's not natural for you to be away from your boy for 12 hours. Are you ready for that? And I told her yes, but my English level wasn't like this now. I was very the Montessori method. I was translating all the night, and I was working with a dictionary. Like, what is this? I don't understand. I was just learning, and everybody asked me, like, my parents, are you crazy? And my mother-in-law, but you just finished your study. What are you doing? You need to be there for your son. But I told him, I'm here for my son. I'm doing this for him. I'm enjoying this process. You enjoy to be a grandparent, play with him, just give me a couple of hours. I need to study. And when I put him to sleep, and he was a good sleeper, that he was sleeping during the day and during the night, great, he was breastfeeding. So I learned during the night.
Wow. Was that a diploma course, or what kind of a course was that?
It was actually, it was I don't know, it's
a certificate.
Certificate later came with NAMC, what I enrolled by myself on my initiative. After that, from 3 to 6, it was diploma. But that diploma was from that school because they wasn't registered that.
Right.
Yeah, it was, she was educator who was coming, but they were connected with London.
Yeah. No, this is something that schools do quite often, that they train their own staff, and while they do that, they invite other people also. So I was just interested. I mean, you jumped in like that. Amazing. And when you say your son slept a lot, I think that I do believe in God. Some people don't. Some people believe in universe, but I think God gives us the children we need in order to be able to do these things. So
yes,
you have a son who slept a lot so that you could study.
Yes, but it continues later with my second child, with a girl. Actually, I started with approach to that certificate when I gave birth to the second child. So every time when I'm giving birth, I'm studying. So it's something, I don't know, it's something in my life. And then I said, okay, while I'm on maternity leave, I'm going to finish this. I need to have diploma. Like, I just want to have a crown of all that work, because while I was pregnant with my daughter, I need to organize one classroom with my colleague in that period. So we needed to open a new 3 to 6 classroom. It was a lot of children, and I worked in one classroom, and then director said, okay, now I need 2 of you to set up the environment. Go copy all this and I will order the materials. And so that was a great experience. I learned a lot from the old colleagues, and one lady, she finished it in London. So that was a very tough and And
Emina, can you just give me a location? This was happening where?
In Sarajevo.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes
I was always, I'm still living. I never go.
Sometimes when people tell stories, they happen to like all of a sudden jump and they're in a different continent, and so I just wanted to make sure.
In my case, I'm always here.
In Sarajevo. Okay.
Yes, it's in Sarajevo. So that's my dream. I have to go somewhere to see how it looks like. So that was my dream. I remember when I gave birth to her, I heard about Prague, and I wanted to come on some conference and something. I remember Congress. Yes, it was something. And it's like, okay, I will have opportunity when it's meant to be. It's sometime I will.
Totally. One day we will have an event for all of our friends, just like just friends get together one day. But so I want to ask Nina the same question. So then your children were enrolled in the school, and
the what happened next question. Yeah. So for me, just to tie in Jedinstvena Generacija and our collaboration, so a little bit of time passed. I had my third baby and was involved with our school. My husband and I helped the school develop a toddler program. They already had a toddler program, a wonderful toddler program that our daughter was in, but helped make it larger so that more children could attend. And I just absolutely fell in love with the toddler program. And then my husband and I started to think of ways to give back, and naturally, just being Bosnian born, my mind went back to my country. And we spent a couple of summers ago, we go every summer, a couple of summers ago, we kind of made an effort to look around Bosnia and see how we could help. Anyway, focus on children. And so we went to visit an orphanage, Dom Bjelave, and walked around it and saw that there were children who weren't in first grade. There was a lot. I basically saw a primary classroom of children sitting there, and I was like, wow, wouldn't it be wonderful if these kids had a pop-up Montessori school? So they had what my kids have. I guess I've been going back to a lot to my children are so fortunate. I want to give other children that opportunity. And so that's kind of what happened next. I was very fortunate that the director of the orphanage in Bosnia, in Sarajevo, is amazing. He is very open and open to new ideas, really cares about the children. And so he was super welcoming about this crazy idea I had about pop-up Montessori program. And then I was more fortunate, which this wouldn't be possible without Jedinstvena Generacija, to have a cousin of mine who actually, Jedinstvena Generacija is located in one of his rental spaces. And so I was telling my cousin, yeah, I really want to open a Montessori program in this orphanage. And he was like, oh, that sounds really cool. And then a week later, he called me. He's like, oh my God, I know Montessori school. Let me connect you with these two, Emina and Yasmin, her husband. And then I connected with them, and it was like love at first sight. It was just like, this is what I, and then we connected with the orphanage director and started collaborating. I think we connected in March or April, put together a plan of running some workshops in the summer and finding a teacher, ordering materials, preparing a space. And this was all last year of 2022. And then in September of 2022, we started a Monday to Friday program with a teacher and an assistant and materials, although we're still waiting on shipment of some materials because of COVID. I was just, it's like, but a whole Montessori setup, and it's been really, really amazing. So that's kind of what happened next in my life. But I just saw this way when I walked through the orphanage, and I had a Montessori background with my own family. I just saw almost like a perfect puzzle piece. You know, there were these children of these various ages that weren't going to the government school because they were too young. They weren't in elementary yet. And then I just remembered how nurturing, loving, amazing Montessori has been for my children. And I just was like, this is perfect for here. And I guess that's what the puzzle pieces fit together for me, is what happened next. And I met Emina, and we started this pilot program.
So you talked to each other, right? You called each other, you met. It was love at first sight.
Yeah.
And then how do you you call the director of the orphanage and you say, hello, we have something to share with you? Or how do you, how did you go about that? Emina, do you want to share?
Yes. First, while we realized, actually the cousin of Nina that she mentioned, he called us and told us, okay, I will recommend, I want to connect you with my cousins, with people who have idea. And then we told him, but we did the connection with the orphanage with them 2 years ago, before Corona. We are always like dealing that period before and after Corona.
Yes.
And we tried to
BC.
do something. Yes. We tried to do something. And we prepared some theater, some show, some concert for them, Jedinstvena Generacija. So we already made connection with them. And then I said, but we wanted to do some Montessori workshop on a volunteer basis. I just wanted to prepare if I can do anything for those children. And he said, great, because these people, they have idea. He mentioned Adam and Nina. And then I told them the story, and we just started like sharing. It was like Zoom like this, something like that, Nina, if I remember. And I told them what we did before, how the Jedinstvena Generacija was open and registered, what was the process of that. And then we just called the direct. I told them, okay, but he was working with me as a volunteer while we were students. So it was just like coincidence, something. Okay, I met him already. I was there. I was in the orphanage. And I'm willing to do whatever is necessary to open the Montessori classroom. It's going to be a big challenge, but we have to write a project. We have to write something. And then we started. Nina and Adam, they had a great idea. We had the same vision. We couldn't do anything without them. Like, it's how Nina used to say that, like two halves of something. I don't know, if you take an apple, and we can't do work without each other. So we fit together, and they were helping a lot. They said, okay, we will do whatever is necessary, as she mentioned, about collecting materials, preparing. So I need just to set up the environment, to find a teacher. And she offered me to be, I told her I can't, because I'm a founder of Jedinstvena Generacija, and I told her the story, but I will try. It's very hard to find a teacher who is also passionate about all of this. And we found her and started. We first started, it was like, we make like two phases of the project. It first started as a workshop, and we tried to collect all the professionals, like physical education, music lessons, art lesson, and like clay workshops. My husband, he's an artist, he's a photographer, and he really enjoys art, and he was sharing that kind of knowledge with them. I did some yoga classes, and we bring up a teacher, violoncello, I would say that. She was a teacher, and we just started like program for a couple of days during the week. And that's just the way how we started. But we finished also the paperwork and everything with Nina and Adam, and the director, who was very sensitive. He's very sensitive about this topic. He opened the door, and yes, and he is the biggest support for us, and we are very happy to have him on our side, because it's not easy to just jump in, because we wanted that as like, okay, a couple of days a week, but we just said we really want that to look like a Montessori. But what is very challenging, we are sharing a space because it's a living room for those children. It's like a half day for younger children and a full day, like imagine like full day Montessori program. And after that they need, so it's like pop-up classroom. You have to close, you have to clean all the practical life materials, to put it in a cupboard, to switch over, like to move, because there are children with special needs also in that classroom who are coming in the afternoon. So it's very challenging so we need to work together with the people who are working there, and we are trying to find the best solution for everybody. It's not easy. It's really challenging to share a space, because we wanted from the beginning, Nina and I, we were talking like we want a pure Montessori, like, okay, the basics of everything is prepared environment and spiritual preparation of the teacher, and okay, we have those children who are coming, and they're mixing them from different classrooms during inside of that orphanage. So we have a 2 to 6 like children, a group of children, and in the afternoon session we have a school children. So it's working for that.
That's big work.
But it's very important for us how everything started, like Jedinstvena Generacija. It was all connected with the children who were taking the opportunity, even in that was very bad, very hard and sad story about children who were taking the birth identity number, and the 2 girls died in Sarajevo. Like we get her. The idea was, our goal was to get her so many people from our town to do something for the children who are very special. And that's the reason why we call that unique generation, because they were really unique children and unique people who tried to fight like for these children, to give them the best opportunity of education, the best education for everybody. That's our goal. Nina and Adam, they have the same vision for this project.
Well, it's really amazing that you were doing some work, and you had a reason for doing it, which goes all the way to your childhood. And then your project, you meet somebody like Nina and Adam who say, well, how does this happen? But it's like by accident, we have the same vision. Well, it's not by accident. And I think from what you're saying is, what I hear you say is that I hear like three pillars of success, or 3 things that needed to connect so that this could be born. And that was your presence, and your work and your dream than Nina and Adam's vision for the same location for Nina's country, and then the person inside the orphanage who was open enough to to actually welcome your help. And that's not easy, to welcome somebody's help. And I want to also say, Emina, you're a perfect interviewee. You're answering my questions before I ask them, which is lovely. It's really, I mean, my experience doing these interviews is that I just need to start it, and then people just speak, because people love to be listened, and people love to tell their stories, and it's how we connect. So that's why I think I'm just really honored to have this time together with you. Not because of the podcast, but just because of this time that I have with you. So you already mentioned some of the challenges. I will ask Nina now maybe to address that a little bit, because my next and last question is, how can we help you, those of us who are listening to this? And then Nina, maybe share a little bit about the bigger vision, so that people, because there might be some people out there thinking about the same stuff that you're thinking for the future. So please share a little bit about that. Okay, thank you.
Of course. So some challenges, I think, for me that have been the biggest as an organization, as Montessori Origins, is having patience. That's like a big word. Being patient and just putting the focus on the children, and just having to refocus on that, because I think Montessori's, and it's globally, obviously, no, but there's still places in the world that are very distrusting. So I think one of the methodology of Montessori, or just don't know much about it, and then they think they know about it. So for me, it's been raising awareness about the Montessori method, so people can see the benefits and can support the Montessori method coming into their community. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that I didn't anticipate when I started this project and I met Emina and Yasmin. I thought our biggest challenges were going to be finding a teacher. And I was worried about how the children were going to acclimate, even though I knew in my heart it was a really great fit for children in an orphanage setting. Those were my primary concerns. I did not once think about how Montessori would be viewed in the local community. So I think that has been definitely a challenge that was unexpected, but it's not something that we're scared of, but just something to have to now go back and be like, oh, how do we address this? Because one of the most amazing things that Emina can talk more about this, because I'm in California and she's there every day, was seeing the children, I believe on the second or third day, once we started our program, we're like, oh, when are you coming back? When is the actual school started? Just the thirst for knowledge and the happiness for the children. And we've also been using, to that when we spoke last, to just track the children's progress, and it has photographs. And so I have access to the transparent classroom, and just seeing these children every day. I think I told you, I log in with my coffee just to look at what they're doing, and seeing the joy on their faces and the achievements, whether they're learning how to write or whether I see a photo of them hugging each other because they're celebrating a birthday together. That's amazing. So yes, I would say challenges are probably Montessori awareness, I would say. And I would love for Montessori to become a larger part of the early education system in Bosnia. And I would like there to be a larger focus on early childhood. And in many countries, I think that's still the case. I think globally, the statistic is I don't want to say the number because I can't remember the exact number, but it's something ridiculous how many children don't have access to early childhood education. And there's been so much data from very reputable sources that has proven recently how important the first 5 or 6 years of a child's life are. And so I really, really want I guess the challenge is I really want to not only make people aware of the Montessori method, but make people aware how important it is to reach children at that fundamental age, and how children in a disadvantaged community or in an orphanage that are not just that aren't dealing just with challenges of not, but other challenges, how much they can be helped by early childhood education, especially I think the Montessori method. I'm really passionate about how amazing it is and how it really addresses from so many facets what children need early on. How you can help us, listeners and everyone. We are an early organization. I think we've been functional now for almost a year. Putting us in touch. Just if you go on our website, you can find ways to reach out to us. Other projects that could possibly work. We'd love to be global. Bosnia, I started because I had a natural connection to it, and I'd love to go across the Balkans, but it doesn't have to be. In my breakout, it was myself, who's Bosnian and American, somebody from the Philippines, somebody from India, somebody from France, somebody from Kenya, and a woman from, I believe she was in Montana. And I was just like, wow, like this is amazing. I'd love to go everywhere in the world where we can find somebody. I need to find an Emina everywhere, because without an Emina, I can't do anything, on Zoom. I can have a vision, but I would love to collaborate with more people. So I think if anybody has an idea or a connection to make, and if you have just advice, I believe, like, I'm trying to give you some words of wisdom here from, and I think my little bucket of wisdom is, anybody wants to give us any buckets of wisdom or advice or lessons learned as we start this project, I think that's amazing as well. So just reaching out and getting in touch, connecting.
Okay, so how about my creative brain is now on. How about I'm sure there are qualified, experienced Montessorians who might be willing to serve as consultants, maybe online on Zoom. Would you be interested in somebody reaching out who might be able
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. I also one thought that I had was that we are calling AMI Montessori training centers. If some of you are listening now around the globe and you're hosting online certificate courses and you'd like to extend a giving arm and say to Emina, if you have a teacher that you'd like to send to a course, we'd be happy to host you as a sponsored student. We will definitely include websites of both of your organizations in the post so people can reach you. So you are welcome to do that if you are a training center. And of course, we've already discussed that your teachers, both of you, okay, from Emina and Nina, are welcome to our orientation courses, of course, because this is how we can help.
Thank you, Mirka. That's very generous.
And then also, I'm pretty sure that on Emina's website, you can find a bank account if you want to donate. This is, again, to our listeners, right? Emina, if people want to donate to your school, or Nina to the project, people will find your information. So we'll share the website as well. Okay. And then we are looking for, find Waldo, right? So this is a project, find Eminas in other locations of the world.
Oh, that's amazing.
Where's Emina? Where's Waldo? Where's Emina? If you are, if you are an Emina in any of the unprivileged areas of the world and you have the same vision and you have the same drive and love, Emina is just like, I want the word, it just comes out of you in the most, your energy, your love, your fire, your devotion. We are looking for Eminas. Where are Eminas? Where's Waldo? Reach out to Nina or to Emina if you know some Emina somewhere else. Thank you.
But I'm looking, those Eminas, they need to find Mirka. I'm looking Mirka because I want Mirka to guide me through this process, because I heard about your mentoring program and I'm just writing notes and like, okay, I don't know how to approach this lady. I have to ask her. I don't know how. I don't have enough courage. Like, I want her to guide me through this process. I want to find people with vision. I want to find people who are living their dreams and believe that their dream can come true. And then I heard about Mirka, and then Nina told me, come on, it's starting. Did you notice that it's starting now? Yes, I think one program started in January and I missed that. And I think that other one is starting now.
It
so
is.
I need,
It
so
is.
Emina cannot work without Mirka, because like I feel, I mean, it's maybe it's not a good word to feel lonely, but I just
No.
need the professional one. So you're my like model, and yeah, you're like a mother, you know, like, okay, I have to ask Mirka, is this okay?
Oh,
So
that's
can she
okay.
help me?
Okay, stop. I have trouble receiving all of that praise. Okay, it makes me. Thank you. This is really amazing. And yes, we are starting. We have maybe I'll just mention for people who don't know what we are talking about.
Okay.
Is that I'm running something that I'm calling a mentoring group, and it's for people but it's a mentoring group for people who have dreams and they want to make their dreams come true. And this can be becoming a trained teacher, or opening a school, or opening a training center. And this is what Emina is referring to. She's hoping to open a training center in Bosnia. Yeah. And in the group that I'm working with right now, we have 6 or 7 women who have the same dream. And we are slowly starting to, make their vision boards, and we talk about why they want to do this. And it'd be my utmost honor, Emina, if you join the second group. The third group is full now. There's going to be a 4th group, but it's running at the same time as the 3rd group. So you will be in touch. But I'd be amazed and honored if you join the group. And
yes, I would love to. That's my next dream. Like, okay, now I know how I'm dreaming my dream and I need Mirka. I don't know how. Like, no. Somebody needs to wake me up. Like, okay,
I will gladly. I'm not a trainer, I'm not a speaker, not a lecturer, but I will gladly share with you everything I have learned. And if that helps you, it will be.
I think that's the most important part.
It will be
learning from experience.
So
yeah, because I believe in experience. Okay, I don't have a AMI certificate but I always believe and rely on experience. Okay, and the passion and love for doing something. When you believe, I think that's the same thing. The Montessori is universal. It's for everybody, and that was actually that I would like to do, to bring to my society, because everybody. There are some prejudices, like people think it's just for rich people, for special children. And I just wanted to show them, when I opened the Jedinstvena Generacija, like, it's for every child, to give them opportunity to educate. And it can be cheaper. It doesn't need to be, especially in this moment that Nina and Adam, what they did. It's something that I cannot find a word. It's not important to say thank you. And those children for orphanage, they don't need to say thank you, Adam and Nina, for giving us this opportunity. It's just for everybody who believes that every people, they have, how you call that, Nina, bright beginning for every child, something like that. I think that's a vision so that's something that really touches you, in your heart. So we are all giving together. So we are implementing this method, and they're helping us. So they're collecting, they're finding people. So we are supporting our environment, our country, our town, our children, by giving them persons who want to raise them, who want to educate them, who just want to give them like a better life. Because participation in this like Montessori education, like with 8 children, to develop into individuals who know how they say that, like, right from wrong. They can contact with their peers. They can become a part of the community. They can go out of that community, so they can have something like normalization. It's connected with Montessori. Like, we hope that we will make a difference in their lives.
And you will totally
children. Will. Yeah, so we really believe.
we can. You do. I mean, it just shines through the screen and through the sound that you absolutely do. And by the way, you are a great speaker. You should consider for the future.
I agree.
Thank you. I didn't have that chance. I didn't know that. I mean, I'm not the one, but I'm just invited, and I was very nervous for that. But it's a big opportunity for me. Next week, I need to do something for some organization called me to talk about setting the Montessori environment and helping mothers with the and how we call that? I need Nina's help in Bosnian to translate nannies, dadilje, nanny. I think that nannies. So there is an organization who is collecting like nannies for children in Bosnia, and they want me to give them a lecture. And I'm very excited, and I can't wait Friday to hear Heidi.
I was just going to invite you. It's Saturday, actually. Saturday at 4 p.m. Yes.
Okay, I thought it's Friday. Okay, it's not, because I wanted to, but it's canceled. It needs to be.
It's this coming Saturday. It's 4 p.m. Central European time. We have 1,152 people signed up as of today.
Me too.
Oh my goodness!
And wow. Yes, and Nina, I think
it's going to give you It's going to give you the principles. It'll be a very introductory talk, but it'll give you exactly the principles that you need to share. So absolutely come and then
of course. That's my plan. I need just a refreshment. I'm reading so many things. Okay, I need to give them a lecture, and I need to give them examples, like what they can do at home, how to take care. And I just...
So, Emina, a resource for you, AMI Aid to Life website is something that you should really, you should, spread that amongst parents, Aid to Life, okay? It's an amazing resource for parents. It's actually translated to various languages. And if it's not translated to Bosnian, AMI welcomes people who are willing to translate on a volunteer basis.
Wow.
So have a look, and there's contact information if you want to do that. And then you can share it with your community. It's become this global resource, and it's got 20 or more languages it's been translated to, and it's really amazing. So I can definitely recommend. Okay, ladies, we have to start wrapping up. I will ask you to please send me all the links for all of what we have discussed that we want to share with people. Emina, I think I will also ask you, if possible, to share some photos. I'm not sure legally if that's possible, but I would like to write a full article to go with the podcast to send to people, because this is a truly inspiring project, and we want to reach as many people as possible to know about it. And also, there are many people out there running this type of projects for people and children in underprivileged communities. They will be inspired by what you do. So we want to give them as much information as possible. Okay?
Okay.
I think that's all.
So you want me to send you some photos from the orphanage?
Yes, and also from your school. Okay, any photos that you can share. Just make sure you can share them, because if there are children on it.
I know. Yes. We already have that. Okay. We are taking care of that.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mirka.
Thank you.
This was amazing. Again, thank you, and love you very much already, even though I haven't met you in person. And I hope that you'll get a lot of connections from people who will listen to this podcast. And please say hello to Adam, Nina.
I will. Thank you, Mirka.
Thank you very much. Be well.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Dear colleagues and friends, thank you for listening today. I hope you enjoyed this inspiring Montessori story. I hope it encouraged you. I hope you learned something from it. And I hope that you realize that you are not alone on your Montessori journey. I'm looking forward to speaking with my next guest. And as we say in Czech language, naslyšenou in 2 weeks. Yours with love, Mirka from Montessori Institute Prague.